nowhere, a powerful voice resonates behind my ears. Hey internet, it's Jessica, and welcome back to Red Embrace with Dominic's Root. So in the last episode, he took a bite out of Connor. Really didn't think he was gonna do it. I thought he was joking, but turns out now we're on a date? I don't even know what's going on anymore. Anyway, let's continue. We dance for what feels like hours afterwards, though at the same time it passes in the blink of an eye. When I start to get tired a little, I lean against Dominic's chest, and a pleased smile briefly curls on his lips. Finally, it's just getting close to dawn. We reluctantly separate and make our way to the exit. Well, this is awkward now. It's still dark when we emerge on the streets, although probably not for much longer. With the music now muffled by the concrete walls, an awkward silence drifts between us. Let's go. Right. Shit, I entirely forgot that he was supposed to be taking me home. That was the whole point of this meeting, wasn't it? So how did that just happen? Awkward. I bite my lip as we head down the sidewalk again, but Dominic seems completely at ease. This guy, I guess he's not even worried that the other vampires will come after us. Am I the weird one for being so flustered about everything? We end up making it to my apartment building without any incident. When we reach the door, Dominic stops, so I come to a halt in front of him. Thanks. It's fine. With a casual response, he starts to turn away. Hey, wait! When I hastily call out to him, Dominic pauses to look back at me. Were you planning on coming back to the diner tomorrow night? You don't have to or anything, but... He tilts his head to one side, quirking an eyebrow slightly. I said I helped you, didn't I? He sounds puzzled, as if it was only something natural. It probably sounds like I'm questioning his kindness, but after tonight's case, I wouldn't blame him for wanting to keep his distance. I just wasn't sure how long you would... Never mind. My response trails off into an awkward mutter, and I avert my gaze, grimacing. As long as you need me. Well, that's sweet. That's kind of nice. It's just this whole thing seems so, like, random, you know what I mean? Because, like, out of all the characters so far, Dominic is the only one I can't read automatically, you know what I mean? Because, like, with Rex, I could tell he's just a sweet guy, but he's just, like, putting a front up. Isaac is just being very confident, but he's, like, very hurt on the inside. With Dominic, it's just, like, very confusing. Dominic's words sound unusually gentle, so much that I look up at him in surprise. But he's already turning around again, starting to walk away with his hands shoved in his pockets. This time, I just watch his tall figure gradually head into the distance until he finally disappears around the corner. His parting words feels like a dream, and I almost have to wonder if I didn't mishear them. As long as you need me. Seriously, what a weird guy, I muttered to myself in disbelief while climbing the stairs, unable to contain my smile. Unlike last night, a warm feeling bubbles in my chest when I reach my apartment. I don't understand Dominic at all, but deep down, I can see that he has a good heart. It's the last thing I expect from someone who's supposed to be a blood-sucking monster. I guess you really can't judge a book by its cover, huh? This time, when I was throwing myself into bed, it doesn't take long for the drowsiness to take over me. As I slip into unconsciousness, the last image I see is Dominic's bright blue eyes glittering warmly in the dark, swallowing me in their endless depth. And so begins a new bizarre routine. Every night, Dominic would show up at the diner right as I'd be getting ready to close. After our encounter with Rex, he was a lot more cautious. We take all the hidden alleyways and paths through the abandoned buildings, and a new mini-adventure each time. There were a couple of close calls, but we managed to avoid getting spotted by roaming vampires, just barely. Neither of us ever speak what happened about the club last night. It's not like our relationship is awkward, but every time I think about the way we dance, my face starts to feel hot, because you're crushing on him. I knew it was just a spur of the moment thing, probably meaningless, but no matter how hard I tried, I can't forget the look in his eyes back then. Wow, time to leave already? I must have been really spacing out. Today marks the week since Dominic, or Dom, as I've started calling him, first offered to escort me. But this time I decided to man up and ask him if he wants to come to my apartment tonight. What? Really? Just for a drink and to chat or something. He's not very talkative, but I think he might enjoy the company, and I like to get to know him better. It's so easy to forget that Dom's a vampire, but the sense of loneliness he carries reminds me of the cold solidarity life he's forced to live in the night. He stays away from his clan, and I can tell he misses his family more than anything. From what he's told me, I'm the only friend he has. I want to help ease that loneliness for him, even if it's a tiny bit. I think you want to also ease, like, his dick. Let's be honest here. The streets are still slightly lively as I commute to work, compared to the usual abandoned state on my way home. Normally, I keep my head down and be lost in thought during my walk to the diner, but I feel unusually bright today. Must have been the adrenaline from my plan to invite Dom inside. I don't know why it's making me so nervous. When I take a turn down the side street, I see the shape of a familiar building not far off. Isn't that the abandoned warehouse where Dom went to smoke the other day? I wonder if he's in there now, or if that's where he stays before he comes to the diner. What if he's not there, if you just walk in? I hesitate, but my curiosity winds up being too strong and I duck inside the warehouse on a whim. But he might not be there! Downstairs, the dark, dirty interior greets me with a familiar hum of the fluorescent lights. But it doesn't seem like Dom's here. There are a few fresh cigarette butts lying nearby, which means I might have just missed him. Oh well. Damn, why am I so disappointed? I get to see him tonight anyway, so it's not like it really matters that much. Looking for Dominic by any chance? Who's it? Out of nowhere, a powerful voice resonates behind my ears. Oh no, it's Bishop! I hastily spin around, coming face to face with a towering man. He's in a finely made suit, and he doesn't look like a thug. What's he doing in a place like this? I didn't even see him come in. What, was he hiding? Yeah. Do you know him? I do indeed. He's quite an interesting young man, although a little misguided. He slowly rubs his hands along one cheek, watching me with eyes that are vivid, piercing shade of red. Wait, does this mean, could this guy be... Oh, where are my manners? I entirely forgot to introduce myself. My name is Bishop. I am, to put classily, the leader of the San Francisco 2 clans. He bows his head a little, and his tone is polite and reserved. He's the top vampire in the city. The very thought makes me want to dash out of the room as fast as I can, but curiosity and fear kept me pinned in place. Nice to meet you. I'm Connor. I guess you heard about me from Rex? Bishop nods slowly, narrowing his crimson eyes for a moment. Oh yes, he talked about you quite a bit, including all of your special qualities. Special qualities? Naturally. However, I did not come here to intend on discussing such things now. That can wait for another time. The real reason I wanted to speak to you, Dominic, was a certain rumor that had been circulating about you two. Pausing for an extended moment, Bishop lets his gaze drift through up and down my body, and I hold back the urge to shiver. He gives off a strong, apprehensive aura, one that feels like a black tendrils wrapping around and squeezing my breath. You see, I don't allow my subordinates to engage in equal relationships with humans. It puts us all at a great risk at being exposed, just from one tiny slip-up, a misplaced word here or there, and our veil of secrecy might be torn open. He gives me a wild, shark-like smile. Are you trying to say I shouldn't talk to him anymore? When my voice uncontrollably cracks with disappointment, Bishop laughs, although it doesn't make his expression look any kinder. Please don't paint me out to be a villain. I have a different proposal in mind, if you wish to hear me out. Bishop says a little closer, but even though I want to move back, his crimson stare freezes me in my spot. You see, we're always looking for a new, promising addition to San Francisco's coven. The vampire in Los Angeles, San Jose, and even Fresno, their numbers are steadily growing, and soon they might even pose as a threat to us. He reaches out a claw-like fingernail and points it directly at my throat. I clench my teeth, doing my best not to show any signs of fear, and stare back at Bishop's unblinking eyes. From your scent, I can tell you're Strix, a human with strong, receptive blood. My scent? Now that I think about it, both Rex and Dom said something like that. If you joined us, I would have no objections to your relationship with Dominic. In fact, I'd even encourage it. After all, he's a very lonely boy. Someone like you could keep him from acting out and causing any further trouble. Bishop towers over me as he speaks, casting a long shadow that feels like swallowing me up. It's too clear that he's giving me an ultimatum. Join us or forget about us. Otherwise, I'll be killed. What are your thoughts, my dear? I don't like being kept in suspense. Oh no, only if Dominic, it'd be worth the I don't know! What's the right answer here? Because I can tell, like, Dominic does not want to be a part of this, like, clan. It's pretty obvious, and I don't think he wants Connor to do that either because he's trying to protect him. That's the whole point of this. Like, he's trying to watch out for him because he's gonna get in trouble and stuff like that. But at the same time, if I don't join, then this asshole is gonna get involved. I don't know! I get it only if Dominic something. I don't know what happens there. To be honest, the idea of never seeing the sun again is a horrible one. Everything about my life would change, and I'd be forced into a world of secrets and darkness. But if Dom was there for me, then I think I can endure it. I consider your offer, as long as Dominic was the one who turned me. I really don't know how a mortal is made into a vampire, but if anything is like the stories, I get bitten by another vampire. And if it's a permanent bond between the two afterwards, I only let something like that happen with Dom. Would he agree to this though? That's the thing, because I feel like he wouldn't. That's my thing. Oh, you're a picky one, I see. Bishop seems greatly amused by my response, and he lets out a chuckle, letting me glimpse his knife-like fangs. Do I have to decide right now? When I warily look up at Bishop, he smooths his hand through his jet black hair and offers me a shrug. I'll give you a day to think about it. Should you choose to reject my offer, however, I'm afraid I'll have to prohibit you from meeting Dominic. Through whatever means necessary. Means he's gonna kill him. He's not really subtle about the threats, this guy. But there's not much I can do to argue, so I offer a hesitant nod in reply. If you really wanted me to join, though, why didn't you just bite me forcefully? I doubt I'd be a match for you. I doubt I'd be a match for a vampire. My question causes Bishop's eye to go into dangerous and amusing light. Turning an unwilling subject often leads to troublesome side effects, my dear. Death is often one for such effect, among others. I'd rather not see someone so promising wasted like that. You understand, I'm sure. I see. I grimace, unsure of how I feel about being called a promising candidate for a vampire. It feels a little comforting to know that they wouldn't turn me against my will, but an uneasy feeling still gnawing in my stomach. Excellent. I'm quite pleased that we settled that matter so efficiently. I'll see you tomorrow then. Make sure you consider things carefully, as I'm sure neither of us want a disagreeable outcome. Bishop offers me a sweeping bow, then turns around and flutters his long black coat. He walks towards the stairs, but to my shock... What? The second he steps into the shadow, his form simply disappears. I thought he was like he levitated and flew up to the roof. It must be some kind of power he has. The very thought sends unpleasant shivers down my spine, considering he's the most powerful vampire, so yeah. What a shady bastard. I unthinkingly mutter to myself, then freeze, praying he's still not lurking nearby. That'd be really bad. But there's no reply or angry vampiric hiss, so I guess Bishop's gone. His presence was so incredibly icy that the whole warehouse felt like a few degrees colder. Shit. What kind of awful situation have I got myself into? I don't want to give up my humanity, obviously, but I don't want to leave Dominic all alone either. And I have a feeling that even if we tried to keep our meeting secret, Bishop would find out. How am I supposed to make a choice like this in a single day? After a little while, I wearily leave the warehouse and head to the diner. For the most of my shift, my head is in a daze. I have to ask the customers to repeat themselves a few times as I'm so distracted that I don't understand what they're trying to say. Bishop's offer weighs heavily on my mind and my stomach is tight in an anxious knot, tightening every time I replay the conversation in my head. Finally, closing time arrives and I let out a long relieved sigh. As usual, Dom shows up at the door, coming to stop a few feet in front of the counter, but this time he stares at me with a small frown, studying my face intently. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Just kind of worn out, long shift and everything. Dominic doesn't look like he's buying my excuse, and he keeps watching me with a worried narrowing of his clear blue eyes. Either I must look really terrible or incredibly perspective, or maybe a mix of the two. Let's head out. The smell of grease is making me more nauseated than normal. We leave the diner and start walking towards my apartment, completely alone in the deserted street. There's an unusual tense silence between us. I've gotten used to Dom's quietness and normally keep up the conversation myself, but not today. I should say something about Bishop, but I can't force to say any words right now. It's like there's a lump in my throat. He knows there's something wrong. Only the sound of our footsteps around the pavement echoes around us. Dominic must sense something is wrong because he avoids my eyes and walks further away from me than normal. It doesn't seem like there are any vampires hunting us today either. I almost wish they'd start chasing us, just to break this awkwardness. We make it to my apartment before long, neither of us speaking a single word on the way there. Finally, when we arrive at the door, I pause and take a deep breath. Hey, Dom, do you want to come in for a bit? He blinks at me in astonishment, like I just asked him to wear a tiara and have a tea party with me. Just for a drink, or smoke, or something. We don't have to hang out very much. We don't get to hang out very much, and... well, I'd like to talk to you a little more. Dom hesitates, his eyes dropping from my face to stare at the ground for a few moments longer. He finally raises his head and nods, and I can't help but grin in relief. Come on then, let's not hang out outside until the sun comes up, yeah? Yeah. Oh no. With Dom trailing in my heel, I head up to my apartment, and my heart starts to beat faster and faster. God, it's really happening. I actually invited him inside. I hope he doesn't think I'm acting weird or anything. I mean, this is a natural thing for friends to do, right? Damn it, who am I kidding? I obviously liked him more than a friend, a lot more. I'm glad that he admitted that. Out of all the roots, he never admitted his feelings for, like, the person until, like, the end when they, like, confirmed everything. This is the first time he's just like, yeah, I guess I like the guy. More than a friend. Well, here it is. Make yourself at home. Sorry in advance for any clothes lying around. I nervously chuckle after leading Dom inside, watching him while his eyes dart around my apartment. I like it. A faint smile curls on his lips, lightening the shadow that has been there all night. Oh, really? I mean, thanks! It needs some serious spring cleaning, though. As I scratch the back of my neck, uncertain of what to do next, Dom lowers himself onto the edge of my bed. The mattress spring creaks a little under his weight, but he doesn't seem to notice. So, how about a drink? I got some wine in the fridge, a couple of cans of beers too. You drink that cup of coffee, so alcohol is good too, right? Dom shakes his head at my offer. Instead, he just motions for me to come closer, beckoning with one hand. Sit down. Okay! Swallowing, I step closer to him, not exactly sure if I should sit on the bed or pull up an office chair. Did he mean sit beside him, or... on my lap, idiot? What? What is this guy doing? Wait, what? What do you mean? If you don't hurry up, the sun's gonna rise. After Dom's coaxing words, I finally end up sitting on his lap, squirming a bit. It's not like I'm new to this kind of thing, but I can't calm myself down. Why are you so nervous? Tom asked me in a curious, low voice, as a blush instantly rises on my face. He noticed, damn it! You're pretty bad at hiding how you feel. I think my 3rd grade textbooks were harder to read. Now you're just being mean for no reason. Maybe I wasn't trying to hide it. Sorry. When I mumbled an indignant reply, Dom just snickers, tightening his arms around me. The gentle but firm way he hugs my body against him is oddly comforting, and I find myself relaxed before I even know it. This is so random! I guess he shares my feelings, at least a little bit. The thought makes a happy, warm flood through my chest. Can I ask you a question, Dom? How did you turn into a vampire? He goes silent for a moment. I feel him squeeze the fabric on my jacket, with fingers that tremble ever so slightly. I got bitten 10 years ago against my will. Wrong place in the wrong time. I knew it! That's what I said, because I'm like, he doesn't seem like the type of guy who's like into the vampire thing. Like Rex, he's trying to appease to the clanmates. He's not. He just wants to be left alone. He speaks with a resigned calmness, not the bitter tone I was expecting. 10 years ago. He's been living like this for 10 years? Once I realized what I was, a monster, I cut myself off of everyone, everything. I hope I just disappeared, swallowed up by the shadows one night, and everyone would forget about me. The vampires here forced me into a clan, but it's all a joke. Creatures like us shouldn't even exist. There's no pride in what we are. I was tired, Connor. I came to your diner that night because I wanted to pretend I was human one last time. Oh. So he was ready to die. Like, he wanted, like, Rex to, like, fight him and then kill him, right? Because they hate each other and whatever. Rex was nearby, waiting to ambush me, and so I was planning to let him tear me apart after I left. Oh, that's sad. I thought I'd revisit an old favorite spot, have my first cup of coffee in 10 years, and then I head out to the final night. Tom, but when you treated me just like a regular customer, like a man rather than a monster, and after you didn't mention me to Luca, and as if you were trying to protect me, I guess I thought it'd be worth sticking around a little longer, just to see what you might get up to. My eyes burn and a lump forms in my throat. If I hadn't, Dom he would have died. Shh, doesn't matter anymore, Connor. It's alright. He strokes a hand through my hair with a tenderness that makes my held back emotions almost burst free. But I manage to swallow back, and once I give Dom a little nod, he smiles at me reassuringly. I don't understand his strength. He's been living in solitude all this time, part of the world he doesn't belong in, and yet he's so gentle, so kind. If I had known all that back at the diner, how would have things been different? Connor, something happened to you today, didn't it? He tilts my chin up so that our gazes meet, and the sky blue eyes gaze into mine with a look of concern. Yeah, earlier this evening, I met Bishop. Dom's face immediately darkens when I mention Bishop's name. I'm guessing he isn't too fond of him, and I can see why. What did he say to you? His voice grows urgent, rising slightly with suspicion. He said that I shouldn't meet with you anymore unless I joined the coven. Dom's fingers curl more tightly around the fabric on my jacket. He watches me with intense, unwavering stare, as if he's trying to search for the contents of my soul. Unsure of those contents myself, I gaze back into his eyes, glimpsing from my own reflection. Is it what you want? His earnest question makes me pause. The truth is I don't really know, and I don't know if I'm brave enough to accept my new life hiding away from the sun forever. Honestly, I don't know, cause this is locked. This is what I would say, no, it isn't, because in reality, I don't think it is. He just wants to do it for Dom. So I'm gonna say I'll take the risk because he's doing it for Dom. He's not exactly doing it for himself. I hope that conveys that message. I don't know. In reality, I feel like it doesn't truly matter to me whether I end up staying a human or not. If someone as gentle as Dom can be a vampire, then what is there to be afraid of? Despite what he says, I know he's not a monster. I understand now that unlife doesn't mean becoming a beast. I'm scared of losing myself, I'll admit it, but I think, well, I'd be willing to take that risk, because more than anything, I don't want you to be alone anymore. I want to be by your side, Dom, even if it means giving up everything else. Damn! A confession! Ashamed of my own cheesy words, however honest they are, I bow my head slightly. Although I avoid looking at Dom's face, I get the sense that he's smiling. My heart leaps up again, and I barely resist the urge to bury my face against his shoulder. But when I look up at him next, his features have darkened again, and his arms squeeze protectively around me. If you accept his offer, you have to make me a promise. Oh, what's that? The look in his eyes is so serious that I nearly tense up a little. Don't accept the bite of anyone besides me. Don't let anyone else turn you. Otherwise, something might happen. Why? What? Part of his words sound uncertain, but the hesitance in his voice makes me wonder if he's hiding something from me. Earlier this week, he was talking about something different in my blood. Could this be related to that? Bishop too mentioned the same thing. Strix, he called it. Promise me, Connor. Dom interrupts my thoughts with an urgent murmur, as if he's worried I might forget what he's saying. Right, of course, I promise. My reply seems to set Dom somewhat at ease, and his impatient gaze softens. Puzzled, I start to open my mouth to ask what's so important about accepting someone's bite. What? What happened? But at that moment, Dom presses his face towards mine. Ah! Oh my god! It takes me a second to realize that his cool, soft lips are smashing against my own. But it takes even less than time to realize that I don't mind, not one bit. I curl my arms around Dom, pressing back tenderly into his kiss. He pulls me down against him with an overwhelming rush of passion. Everything about you drives me wild. Yeah, clearly! Your scent, your kindness, your pretty face, all of it. Dom breathes those low words against my skin, quickly sealing my lips again with another fierce, hungry kiss. Hey! Hey! His tongue instantly presses its way forward, and I let it tease inside my mouth, sliding along my own. There's a sweetly smoky taste on his breath, tingling my senses delightfully as our tongues dance and twirl together. I let out a soft whimper when his hands slip under my shirt, drifting across my skin. When he captures my bottom lip between his fangs and playfully nips it, a delicious tinge shoots down my spine. I clung onto him tighter. And in those beautiful clear blue eyes, there is something heated glimmer that watches me longingly. If only that gaze was fixed on me forever. You're so warm, every inch of you. Well, that's nice. He bursts out with a mixture of awe and delight, his cool fingers tracing up and down my spine. That's right, because vampires are technically dead, so they're cold. They explore all the curves and dips of my body, teasing around my hips, slipping around to my chest. well, what's good is what good is body heat if there's no one there to share it with? Oh, that was really cheesy but kind of cute. I close my eyes, drowning in the sweetness of his tongue tracing on the corner of my lip, while those large, gentle hands caress my entire figure. There's a rush of excitement. It's not just form of physical stimulation. It's a deep but comforting warmth, and as every ounce of tension is gone from my body. I feel like I can entrust every part of myself with Dom. Like I don't need to keep his secrets or anything holding back. Please stay with me, Connor. Dom whispers against my lips, his words so soft that I can barely hear them. But the pleading trembling in his voice makes my chest ache, and I nuzzle against his cheek affectionately. I will, Dom, no matter what happens. He heatedly kisses me again as soon as I reply, like he's desperate to seal the promise into an unbreakable bond. I squeeze my arms around his neck, wanting to reassure him that I don't plan on letting him go anytime soon. The rest of the night becomes a blur after that, filled with so much passion that I can barely keep up. So they did it. She got the D, everybody. Connor got that D. Finally, I drift off to sleep, intoxicated by Dom's scent and the comforting embrace of his arms. The only thought in my mind is that desperate hope this will last forever. And a prayer that I'll be strong enough to make the right choice. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end this episode right here. Very interesting. I have a feeling that Dom is the canon route for this game. I feel like he is. I can tell. Because of how intense everything is. But at least now we discovered, like, his past. He was forced to become a vampire, and I think the person who bit him was Bishop. I really think it was him, because the way he was mentioning, like, oh, we don't need any loose cannons around, blah blah blah, and it's Dom, right, because he's not a part of the clan and whatever, so I'm pretty sure Bishop is the one who forced it on Dominic, so that's the reason why. I just hope that I made enough right choices to the point where Dom is actually going to turn us into a vampire, and we're not going to get turned by anyone else, or something worse, you know, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments what you think, and remember to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next Red Embrace episode. And thank you once again to Argent Games for sending me a game key. This is great. Just very surprising to me, because I really didn't think Dom was, like, gonna be like this. I don't know why, I just didn't. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Yeah, I see that now.
Oh my god, he needs my help.
Forward or develop another character. Video game deaths can be tragic. Here are 6 sad character deaths from video games. Roman, Grand Theft Auto 4.